What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review, here to talk about the new Netflix original movie starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon called The Rip. Alright, I didn't really have a ton of expectations going into this movie because it was a direct-to-streaming movie. And, you know, the truth be told, those direct-to-streaming movies on Netflix, they're normally not very good. Like, I'll watch them once and then pretty much immediately forget about them. But The Rip was a movie that intrigued me because it had star power associated with it. Obviously, you had Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in it. You also had Steven Yeun, and you had Sasha Calle from The Flash. She played Supergirl in The Flash. And this was just a surprise of a movie for me. Now, it's not Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's best collaboration together. It's not the best action or crime drama that I'm going to watch this year. It's not going to end up in my top 10 movies of the year. But I gotta tell you that by the end of the first act of the movie, I was hooked on it. And I actually turned it on, kind of expecting to do some work while I was watching it, and maybe halfway pay attention to it. That was just the reality of my expectations for it. Even though I like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, I didn't expect it to draw me in the way that it did. But like I said, that first act really drew me in, and I didn't get any work done during the movie. Act 2 was great, and it really did a great job of establishing the tension. So the movie is about these cops, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Steven Yeun, and their team. They crack down on a stash house, and they find they were expecting maybe $150,000. Turns out that there's $20 million in this house. And as they're counting it, as they're documenting, as they're doing everything that they need to do to confiscate this money, the tensions in the house between the cops start escalating because they start wondering, is there somebody dirty in our group? Is there somebody who's going to try to steal this money in our group? Spoiler alert, there is. And as that mystery unfolded throughout the first and second act, the tension was rising, and like I said, I was just completely into what was happening in this house. Performances were great. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were wonderful. Steven Yeun had some great character moments. He was involved in some of the twists and turns that happened later in the movie. And like I said, Sasha Calle was great. I really liked her as Supergirl, and I just thought that she played a different type of character in this movie that I just completely, she has a way of popping on the screen, and she did that in this movie as well. The third act, the finale of the movie, not nearly as good as the first two acts. It kind of just, at this point, snowballed into a regular action film with a climax that involved guns going pew pew and people fighting each other and people getting shot and things like that. And maybe that's the logical place for a movie like this to end, but it really kind of felt like it had gone into some predictable territory near the end. Even some of the twist that the movie took at the end was telegraphed, and looking back, you're like, okay, yeah, I see that. It was like that the whole movie. All that being said, even though they didn't quite stick the landing, The Rip was still a very enjoyable experience that I definitely recommend. It's free if you have a Netflix subscription. You can do a lot worse than this movie. Like I said, make sure you pay attention to that first act, and I think you'll be drawn in and you'll be just as engaged in it as I was. So The Rip, like I said, it's not going to end up as one of my top 10 movies of the year or anything like that, but it was an enjoyable experience, and it's a movie that I can recommend. So, have you seen The Rip? If so, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. While you're down there commenting, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.